Good afternoon. This is Andy Sternberg from andysternberg.com here for TechZulu at the Indiegogo Lounge at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. I'm sitting here with Ryan Magnussen, CEO of Grail. Grail is an iPhone app that to read and watch what articles and videos are being most shared at any given time. So Ryan, can you tell me how you came up with this idea for Grail?
Yeah, it's an extension of my background. In 1995, I started a company named Zentropy and grew it into one of the largest web development companies in the U.S. The main exposure of that company was in the entertainment business. So we ran most of the entertainment business. And then I sold that company to Interpublic Group. And I learned a lot about entertainment and advertising. And then from there, I started a company named Ripe. We raised $50 million from Time Warner and Hearst to launch on-demand TV channels across cable, VOD, broadband, and mobile phones. And I learned a lot about the media business. And I came up with a couple conclusions. One is that the next significant media company will get in the middle. They won't actually create the content, they'll get in the middle of the content. And you're already seeing that trend with like Netflix. The second conclusion that I came to is that no one's really cracked the code on a mobile side around articles and videos. There's really not one place or the most popular place to actually go and get articles and videos. So Grail is an extension of that experience. And it's also it's really a social app for articles and videos. So you can think of it, Instagram as to photos, as Grail is to articles and videos. And I believe we've cracked it code in a really cool way where you can see what other people are liking and sharing, and it's a really interesting experience. And so far, it's been very successful.
It seems like a really good time for an app like this. I've seen a bunch of newsreaders out there, but I haven't really seen an app that is as simple as what's being most shared, what's kind of trending right now, what's hitting, what people are sharing, what are people sharing across Facebook and Twitter that I could sort of see in one app without having to go through my entire news feed. Do you think, is that kind of a differentiating thing about Grail that makes it different than newsreaders, or how would you say it compares to your typical?
Well, yeah, I started the company 2 years ago, and the company started out really as a technology company, interestingly enough, analyzing content, both articles and videos, from what's called a semiotic perspective. So semiotics, in fact, Grail as a company has 11 provisional patents, 2 utility patents in the field of semiotics. And semiotics is the analysis of text to find out the emotional sentiment of the content. So the initial concept of Grail was to really organize the world's content to make it make it more meaningful and relevant. And so we started with the premise of like a lot of where the newsreaders are. I mean, last year we had a product we were testing that was very much in line with the Flipboards and the Feedlys and things like that. And what I found was that people want to discover content in different ways than having it been recommended to them or even putting a lot of effort towards it. So Grail really serves a couple purposes and is different in those ways. One is it serves a purpose of really taking a snapshot of what's happening in the world around things that are being shared. Totally different paradigm than getting things recommended to me based upon a topic. So you'll get everything from random stuff like De La Soul's music catalog being given away for free, which to me doesn't mean a lot, to the Malaysian airline being disappeared. But in the story is a very unique story because it's been shared. So the one that was on Grail trending yesterday was a ticketing where people would buy these phantom tickets, and there was some kind of maybe conspiracy around the airline disappearing. So it's a very unique way. Grail also is really a social platform, so you can see what your friends are reading and watching, and in addition, you can really organize your own areas of interest around articles, and you can like them. So it's a totally different angle than currently any of the news readers out there, and I almost consider it more of a real social platform, primarily rather than a news reader.
Okay. I mean, I would say it's a social platform for sure because I could look at it right now and just with a glimpse while I'm talking live on camera, I sort of know what everyone is talking about, and I don't have to go that deep. True Detective, everyone's talking about True Detective on HBO. Everyone's talking about Snowden, who just spoke via a janky live stream to South by Southwest. And I don't really have to read too much deeper, and I could already socialize these articles and what people are talking about. And I like the idea that you could actually share and like from within the app too. So it seems like there's a lot of value to apps like this. Having seen Flipboard just scoop up Zeit for $50 or $60 million. What do you think is the value for the user? Why do you think people are going to use an app like Grail?
Well, I think a lot of being a successful entrepreneur or not being successful is timing. So Grail, at this point, looks like it has excellent timing. So there's two real things around timing. One, I believe, is waves of innovation. So you'll have usually 3 waves of innovation. You'll have the first wave, and that wave usually is the ones that get killed. Like if you looked at the search area, it would be like Yahoo was the first search, and then you had Lycos and Ask Jeeves and all these second, and then Google was third. We're actually in the third wave of these news readers specifically. You had a whole first wave, even going all the way back to Pointcast, which some of the viewers might remember in the 90s. And then the second wave really was Flipboard and things like that. And then there's a third wave, which is Grail is a part of. So we've been able to see this evolution of different approaches and be able to really fine-tune our approach. I think secondly, the timing is really amazing for the phone, right? So you have apps. You came out with Facebook, and Facebook was really exciting when it first came out. I mean, it was actually a revolution of how people interacted with each other. Then that kind of wore a little thin. Not saying that you don't use it all the time still, but you wanted something new. And then Twitter came out, and that was really exciting because I could just see status. I didn't have to get cluttered with anything else. It was just status. That wore a little thin, and then Instagram came out, and I could just see photos, and that was really exciting. Now that's kind of worn a little thin, and when it went thin, it's not new anymore. And now Grail has come out, and I can see just articles and videos. And the interesting part about it is that from an emotional perspective, nothing's going to compare, in my opinion, to Instagram, right? Like I have an emotional investment in a photo that I'm sharing, right. And as a result, when I get validated through likes and comments, it means a lot to me. But from an entertainment perspective, or capturing my attention perspective, Grail actually has a lot more legs. You can actually, our average time on the app right now is hovering between 8 and 9 minutes. And it's because you actually can go down like a rabbit hole of content and really find very interesting things. So from a emotional perspective, like people liking my status or liking my photos, you can't compare to Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. But from an entertainment perspective, or even an educational perspective, in some cases, Grail really is far superior, and in fact might even have more legs down the road, because I think almost on a daily basis, once you start using Grail, you actually, it becomes habit forming because you want to see what's being shared. And it's a totally, I talked about this a little earlier, it's a totally different paradigm around breaking news. It's not breaking news. In some cases it can be, but Grail doesn't really, things don't get shared like homicides in Alabama or things like that don't get shared. It's more about, if it's a breaking news story, it has to have a unique angle or kind of a mystery element to get shared.
That's great. I mean, yeah, you could always go to the front page of CNN and see the same story all day long. But I think people do get that rush of being the first to share and really wanting to discover things using a unique technology that is also right in their hands. How do you feel, you mentioned Facebook and Instagram and how there have been these waves, and I see those apps constantly changing too, whether they change to sort of suit the advertisers or to suit the platform. How do you think, how has Grail evolved, and how do you think it will continue to evolve to sort of suit the users?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, we've been building the technology for over 2 years. So the product scope of the product, the development plan around the product is already defined 6 months out. I read the Lean Startup, and I've educated myself around kind of agile development. And so we started the product that was in the App Store the last 3 weeks, it launched 3 weeks ago, was really the MVP, or the minimal viable product, or the most viable product, which was the most shared stream, and that did very well. The product that just went live in the App Store today has an explore section so you can see what your friends are liking. It also has a like section so you can save content. And then literally we have a product roadmap that goes out 6 months. And I think from what we've tested on our own, really will be the premier product in the space because it does a lot. We're bringing a lot more content into the ecosystem. There's a lot of features that I can't really talk about today, but if you use Grail and keep updating it, you'll see. And you always have to innovate. You always have to test, and you pull off features that aren't working. You put in features that do work. Innovation is really the core fabric of what we do, and it never ends, really. Great.
All right. So do you want to tell the audience out there where they can go to find out more and where they can download the app?
Yes, Andy, I do. You can go to the App Store, the Apple App Store, and type in Grail, Grail. You can also go to Grail, Grail.me, M-E. It is currently available just for the iOS 7, but it will be very soon for Android, and we also will have an HTML5 app as well. So, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to hear your feedback. Ryan, R-Y-A-N, @grail.me. So hopefully you download the app, give us some feedback, and go Trojans, USC.
Okay,
yes,
we got a question.
We got a question, yes, from
yeah.
the audience.
What's the most important thing coming out of South by Southwest?
So the question is, what is the most important thing coming out of South by Southwest 2014?
Oh, that's Grail. I mean, it's interesting. I've been looking at a lot of stuff. My interest is as an entrepreneur, like just in general. I have not seen any idea yet that I thought was groundbreaking. There's been an idea that's been out for a while. I think it's called Style Seat. It's a woman that I met at Melody McCloskey, and I hadn't heard of it, but it's a genius idea, meaning that it's like Open Table, but for beauty appointments. Genius, but that's already gotten $14 million in funding, and I think is well on its way to be, but already very successful. I have not seen anything that I have been truly wowed about this year. How about you?
I see a lot of people talking about wearables and wearable technology. Yeah. Neither of us happen to be wearing anything at the moment, but maybe in the future, maybe next year's South by, we'll be all decked out in Fitbits and Galaxy Gears and things like that to track everything we do. Or perhaps it's a fad that will kind of fade out in the next year. It's hard to say. There's been a lot of momentum this South by Southwest, and it'll be interesting to see what the consensus is on what really is the next big thing.
Yeah, I will tell you, I think everyone already knows this, and Grail was a part of this. Grail started out as like this web HTML5 platform. 9 months ago, we kind of launched this HTML5 platform. And then very quickly I realized like mobile is really all that matters. And being here at South by Southwest, it's actually no different really than the whole entire planet or first world planet. I mean, everyone's on their phone. I mean, there's going to be groups because our cell phone anonymous, I'll call it, there's going to be a 12-step program to put your phone down. It is literally, people are on their phones. And then if they feel socially awkward, they pull their phone out, right? To kind of, so mobile, if you get mobile right, which I think Grail has done, you're off to the races.
People are literally walking into each other over the.
It's so true. It's so true. And I wonder how many. I think it's an issue potentially with society around driving. Also I think romance is taking a big hit in the U.S. Right? People, instead of even talking to their partners, they're on the phones, and then if they have a conflict, they're texting the conflict rather than actually addressing it in person. Big issue. Grail will not be tackling that issue. We will be tackling the article video part of it, but that could also help in the area of romance too. Like if you need a break from your relationship, it's not going well, your partner's annoying you, go to Grail, and read some articles, take a break.
Find something to, spark up some small talk.
Yeah.
As well.
And yeah, exactly. Yeah, great call, Andy, on that.
Great. Well,
thanks for your time out there, and have a great week.
Thanks for joining us, Ryan, and stay tuned. We'll be here for the rest of the afternoon from the Tech Zulu Indiegogo Lounge at South by Southwest. We have some very special guests coming up throughout the afternoon, so we hope you'll stick around. Thank you.